One map remains after we get through Mirage. CR4ZY bouncing back after getting demolished in the opening matchup. So the resistance is there, the resilience is shown, and we've only got one last place to go, Inferno as map 3.
A lot of us expected it to be 3 maps. It was hard to call, and it's even harder to call now. Both teams are playing so well. You know, if CR4ZY were the underdogs, they're the ones who took out the favorites in the last series.
Big time.
You know, that's all going to result in a really good Inferno. It's a map they didn't ban for a reason. It's a map they both can play, and it's a map they both have experience on. And it's just it's going to be a banger. It's going to be an absolute banger.
No place better to end this series, and I feel like there's no place to better be at this moment. Rotterdam, are you still with us? Are you ready for this third map?
Let's hear it, baby.
I want backflips, I want front flips, pirouettes, and all the trimmings.
Yeah, we're accepting all somersaults here at this event. This is fantastic. I cannot wait to get into this. And again, here we look at these lineups. There's so much talent, and we just saw Ships just show us a new level of Ships on this map, a player we talked about, and then last map we found out why.
Yeah.
A complete monster.
So here we go. This is it, the final map of DreamHack Rotterdam 2019. Heroic and CR4ZY to lock horns on Inferno, and it is of course Heroic to take the T side first. CR4ZY had themselves a stellar Inferno showing versus Heroic. They began on the CT side as well. 9 rounds was the defense in that matchup. Let's see if they can do better or worse, but for better or worse, it's gonna be a good one. 5 players cascade into the B site for Heroic. And CR4ZY are gonna have to forfeit this plant. The retake's on already.
A fantastic day to start things off. Perfect retake positions. Great position here for CR4ZY, and they have a smoke to work with. First kill could be a decider, but it's traded instantly.
Yep, Ships comes in from Coffin. He's been given that space. It's down to the backstab, and another player over by Newbox, man. Advantage for Heroic. And CR4ZY have just got to get their feet onto the bomb site. Letney has a bit of cover to work with, but his teammates sectioned off. They've done such a good job of taking duels. Heroic, to no one's surprise, win another pistol.
If we pause right after the bomb is planted, I'm giving the edge to CR4ZY. They did great nade damage with the HEs, plus they had 2 on Banana, so they had a failsafe on the most important retake spot. They were there early. They had a player construction, they had control of CT spawn, and they had a smoke to work with. So all of the spots that Heroic had were very decent. They did get the plant without getting any damage outside of that grenade or losing a player. But, you know, CR4ZY were in the best retake position possible. So really, really nice hold here from Heroic to kick things off. Another pistol round to the long list of pistol rounds that they've won so far here at DreamHack Rotterdam. Now we're out to the second round. It's actually a bye for both teams. A much worse bye, obviously, for CR4ZY. It's not a situation where they can just drop the SGs, like a couple of them. They're on the CT side. Things get a bit more expensive. They have gone ahead and purchased head armor, which is something interesting. 2 players from Heroic clearing out the halls. Smoke comes down into the B cross, and it looks like they've got even numbers versing each other, but at this point, Heroic peel back a little bit. They've decided to set their sights on the A.
Little smoke to still keep those CR4ZY players occupied on B. Just Esatag trying to sell that fake. Stound's gonna make contact versus a pistol player here. Sees the shoulder, takes the head. Never even given a chance to slip back, and just as fast, Heroic are gonna look to just charge into this A site. Letney with a smoke spam kill, but nothing further. And MECZ at that distance, negligible. They'll move past it so easy.
This was good. This was just fine. They gave it their best shot. CR4ZY held onto a smoke late so that they could rotate out, but because Heroic really sparsely used their utility, showed a bit of presence but not overcommitted, nobody freaked out, and that bought Heroic a lot of time to work their way back into A. And it was a really good kill, actually, from Letney, that 5-7 frag through the smoke, and I think behind a smoke of his own, but ultimately it's just a consolation prize. On the bright side for CR4ZY, they hang on to their armor that they purchased, the MP9, a couple of smokes, so there's some value here for the next round that makes it a little bit easier for them. They will obviously have to save. In terms of kills, we had 1 SMG kill go into Borup's UMP, and Ston with that ultra quick, like split-second shot with the SG into Arch.
So those magnetized rounds. Just clings onto the helmet. So there we have it. 4 survivors for Heroic. They saw the opening they wanted, got their arch kill, and moved so swiftly into A. No one else had much of a say in the mix. Again, we praise not just their pistol rounds, but their success in converting. No surprises so far at the start of Inferno.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Full nade sets for all the T's here. They're going to be hopefully it's a small glitch in the Matrix, but it looks like hands are off keyboards. We might have to resolve this situation.
Yeah. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
We got professionals on scene for exactly these situations.
Yeah, we've got the computer doctors. We've got the human.
I need 20 milligrams of RAM, stat.
Inject directly to the IV.
Doctor, he's got a bad case of blue screen. Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Have you kicked it?
Yeah.
Have you just hit it?
Wiggle the Ethernet cable.
Reset the CMOS.
You have moss in your computer?
I have moss, yeah. I'm always chilling by my computer.
Raggedy. It's all right, Launders. Quick little refresh.
Yeah, it's not really a place where I wouldn't call this like an extremely pivotal moment.
Yeah,
it's about to be a round that we're going to quickly
yeah.
forget about in a couple of rounds.
Yeah. If the server's ever going to, get finicky, round 2 is perfectly acceptable place for it.
It's probably the round that I would this would be an optimal crash, I think.
Yeah. No, honestly, you get past pistols before guns even really happen.
Yeah.
We already have our pistol victor, so it doesn't change any of that kind of result.
Yeah.
This is fine. Gives us a chance to catch our breath a little, and I think I'm going to need it, Launders. I'm excited for this third map. And with the individuals that we've got going here, the performances we've seen, Cadian to me was the map 1 god. Ships just ascended.
Ascended, yeah. Yeah. He came down from the ceiling like Usher. That was crazy.
Our players still seated, everybody getting ready to reset.
Yeah, it'll just be probably a quick match medic as we get back into what was the third round. Not much to think about or talk about, honestly. No one's given up anything about their strategies. But again, it comes down to Inferno.
Ooh. If we revisit the Inferno match we had earlier with Crazy versus Avant-Garde, that's where I look to set my eyes. Who was up there? And an obvious answer, of course, it's Ships. He's dropping a huge 23 and 19.
So
him and Esperanto, the new stars as they're supposed to be.
So the map that you referenced about Ships and his lackluster performance on Train and how he was asked about it. He has been playing a lot of the small sites.
Yes.
On Train, he didn't seem comfortable. So I feel like that's one map where he needs to develop more in that position. And as a solo player, I've seen him become a bit too aggressive at times in situations where he needs to fall back. He needs to not go for an extra kill.
Yeah.
He's the kind of player, he gets the first kill, he gains momentum, he's hard to kill, so he keeps going for more. But if you're going to play solo site, you have to prioritize staying alive more often than getting kill number 2.
Sure.
And sometimes he struggles with that. So if that's a pain point that Heroic feel like they can abuse, then you'll see them going B a lot.
So you've identified like the too much aggression at times from him. Do you feel like that happens on T side as well? Because I go back to Mirage and I remember that round where he's pinned into the corner of jungle.
Yeah.
Cadian's up on stairs, dismantling his teammates. And, Ships is kind of doing his own thing. He's still on his initial train of thought.
I'm chalking that up to inexperience. So if maybe it's because he's played too many pugs in his lifetime and he's always had to worry about himself. So you see the talent, but he hasn't shaped properly into a full-fledged team player. Then maybe he doesn't know when he needs to put his life on the line to save somebody else when it's better for the round, even if he has the best intentions. I actually never like to assume. Well, I always assume that a player is making the best decision possible. So I never assume that a player is playing selfishly, because all these guys are competing on a team, and even if they don't have the skills of a good teammate, they all want to win the game. So it wouldn't make sense to me for them for us to look at it like, oh, they're just playing for themselves. But yeah, clearly he needs to be kind of molded a little bit more. And I think on the T side, I'm chalking that up to inexperience. On the CT side, I'm talking it up to a little bit of over-aggression, a little bit of recklessness.
You know what I kind of get with the vibes that Ships gives is it's like a Cirque Light. Because prior to this showing with Crazy, which is incredibly new, right? This is such a recent addition for him. He's played with Windigo, a full Bulgarian roster, ex-Outlaws, and B-Pro. He has not played outside of a Bulgarian team. This is his first English-speaking team, as far as I know.
Yeah.
It's just been Bulgaria, kind of like Cirque, who went to North America, kind of floated in our lesser teams at the time, and now finds himself as arguably the best opper in our region. So Ships, this is his breakout. He's supposed to just be fitting into the mix. He should be being even with the guys of Crazy who have established themselves in the top 10 over the last year. But he's not just amidst them, he's above them all.
Sure, yeah.
It's wild. It's like, why did nobody else dig him out of Bulgaria before?
It's true.
It's like the time has come now, and with the performance he's putting up, I think he's been ready and waiting.
There's that. I think from the outside it looks like gatekeeping sometimes, because some of us who watch a lot of like every level of CS are just we look for up and coming players. We think, why is no one giving them a chance?
Yeah.
And it's not because like, oh, one guy's just like really great at talking, he knows how to get on every team. Sometimes it's just easier to play with somebody who might not frag as hard as like the next up and coming player, and but you know what you're going to get out of them every single time, right? So that's why a lot of older heads get recycled quite often, and it's much harder for the young bloods to try to find a space, an opening, when a team drops a player and it's like, it's time.
Yeah.
You've also got to convince a roster and the org owners to take a risk, a huge risk, right? These are not cheap players anymore. Almost every piece that moves is worth something. And if you have the thought that you might have to take a dip in performance for the next few months, maybe people in the organization aren't going to be happy about that or willing to take that risk.
Fair enough.
But every once in a while, it does happen. Stewie kind of like set the mood for wanting to do that, even with top teams already. And since then, we've seen a lot of those moves pay off. Next to the Renegades technically wasn't one of those moves at the time. I think he was very uncomfortable. They put him in a lot of roles he didn't want to play.
Yeah, tough spot. And you think about how that
that's where he learned IGLing, and then he came back to Crazy, IGL'd, and now he's on G2. So that experience is really important.
So he'll lap it up. We, of course, have gotten the score reset to 2-0, getting the buys back so that everything was the same. Sometimes change isn't a good thing.
That's true.
This was one of those moments.
Yeah, that can be true for sure. And then Cirque was another one of those moves. I mean, he hasn't actually changed teams, right? He was just a really good bet for NRG. Now NRG had become EG.
Yes, sir.
And the entire time he stuck with it. Like they basically just kind of gambled on him and really gave him time, which is huge too.
Time to develop.
You can never, if you see the end of your contract, it's going to mess with your mind, right? It's going to change how you play. You might be playing for stats more than you're playing for a long-term result. So it's always good that if you're, if you are going to take a risk on a player, you're going to commit to it. Same with Rops on Mousesports.
Sure.
It's his first really pro team, and that he stuck with them ever since they started. So it's cool to have storylines like that.
So young as well, man. Ships as well.
Yeah, and man, before we got into this tournament, you look at Crazy and you're thinking, how are you ever going to fill the shoes of Nexa and Hunter? But here they are in the finals. Tier 2 versus many Tier 2 teams.
Little did you know, your coach at the time was actually a great player.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting development because, again, we slightly touched on it where it's like, the coach as a stand-in is always the last resort, know, and every time that happens, you've got to put an asterisk next to the performance. And, there are some coaches out there who have tons of experience and have been players at times, but Emmy, I've never watched a match of him playing.
Yeah.
It never happened.
He looks very calm and very sharp.
And I love the storyline too, right? When he was honest in his interview and said, like, I took the coaching role because of a difficult financial spot. Like, I took what I could get from Crazy. He's not stupid. He's not going to turn down what is an awesome chance. But for him to finally have then gotten to take it to the next step. Oh, he almost caught it.
Watch the eyes, guys. Okay, it's all love. Now, kid.
Yeah. Whoa! Oh! Whoa!
All right. It's getting a little freaky. Getting a little crazy.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone sign a consent form.
Yeah.
Launders, we've got a little bit of a struggle getting a couple of the hard drives back to exactly where things were, so we're just caught in limbo for the moment. But that's all right.
As you were saying about Emmy coaching.
Yes.
Yeah. He is also like I don't know how much time he spent on Crazy playing at these matches. Is this their first? How many LANs have they played with him?
With Emmy?
Yeah.
As in lands as a coach or player?
As a player.
This is it.
This is it, yeah.
This
and like
is the crazy reveal.
And he's looked so good.
Yeah.
He's looked so good. He's not wasting much space with his flicks. I think that's like the key thing you look at is like, you know, players like Ston. You've seen like clutches from him where it feels like he's aiming with a laser pointer and basically does never over flicks, never under flicks. Is kind of always extremely efficient, and Emmy seems to have that. So the confidence for him to go from, okay, I'm going to coach because like I just need to. I want to be involved in esports. I think I can be a good coach first and foremost. Maybe I can't play just yet, haven't proven myself, but I'll take that role. And then to just like have the confidence to think I can transition to a player. And you know you're playing with like really strong players who are, and you're also feeling like the biggest of shoes.
Yeah, and you took that team to incredible results.
Yeah.
You know, you took that team into a top 10 international standing. All the while looking over Nex's shoulder, like, when's my turn?
When's my turn?
When do I get to go?
No offense, but I hope you sprain both ankles.
Like, no, you guys should definitely go to G2, guys. Yeah. Really, don't hold yourself back.
Oh,
no.
I'm so sad to see you go, but
we'll
I just want the best.
Leave your mouse. Rotterdam, I appreciate your guys' patience. You are still with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Has Crazy won any more fans? Do we have any new Crazy fans in the house?
No. You read the sign, Launders.
Oh yeah, that's taking up so much of the screen I didn't even realize.
Yeah, and Potter.
We have some Potter fans, yeah.
That's great. We had a bunch of them in Rio as well, so the new stops on the circuit seem to farm up that Potter love.
Oh yeah, DreamHack Rotterdam. Okay, so we need a little bit more time to restore the HUD. So we're just going to go to a short break and then be right back with round 3. We promise.
knocking on my door. I see the future asking me for more. I heard the birds singing in the morning. I saw the path, watched the day dawning. Got to get you out of my head. It's getting me down. I saw the past dancing in the street. I saw the sun lying at your feet. I heard a train coming round the bend. I heard you say it's never gonna end. Got to get you out of my head. It's getting me down.
I'm sorry that I'm cold to the touch, but I only hate you 'cause I love you so damn much, and I don't know what else to do when I can't get through to you. No, I can't get through to you. No, I can't get through to you, and I think about it all the time, 'cause I just can't accept it when you tell me it's fine, and I don't know what else to do, 'cause I can't get through to you. No, I can't get through to you. No, I can't get through to you. No, I can't get, it don't feel right, I can't sit tight, I know that it got me bad when I was up all high, just can't help what I do, and I can't just stop loving you,
back in action, baby. We just wanted to let the emotions simmer.
That's right.
We wanted to get the hype rolling because a 2-0 start is where we got in Inferno before things got wonky. But we're back, and we are back in the exact same position that we left. And that, of course, is Heroic 2-0 to the T side. CR4ZY coming in with a light buy.
Yeah, you missed nothing. If you're tuning in right now, it's basically you're skipping a couple of rounds that can go either way. Here it is. Heroic were the ones to win this time, and CR4ZY are on to a sort of bonus just because they lost a couple of players last round, but also saved a couple. So it's not going to be super easy for Heroic, but they're going to try to stretch what they've got going on. They actually, nades go both ways, and there's a bunch of this invisible damage dealt, but ultimately, Heroic are still doing just fine. The amount of presence made, CR4ZY are going to decide to make a rotation over towards A. Maybe overstack for a hot minute, see if Heroic funnel themselves into it. But for the meantime, Heroic stay patient. They don't rush things.
CR4ZY do about the same. No hyper extensions inside of the apartment, no peeking eyes down mid, just sat back, relaxed on site. Majority, of course, over towards A. Ships trying to puff his chest a bit, spams the MP9 and tries to convince Heroic that maybe B's not the best option despite him being there alone. So he has gotten them to head back the other way. But coincidentally, Esperanto has gone towards B. He's a quick hop back onto Arch side, and the kernel defense of CR4ZY within A hasn't moved an inch. 30 seconds left. This means that Heroic have left it down to the wire, but they do have the utility to prevent Esperanto from getting into the mix. He could run through smoke at a wild point, but you'd think these players in sight have to distract first, and they will get that first kill. And a second, Letty taps in, but Esperanto was red. And chips over from B, just never gets things rolling. Heroic to the 3-0 start.
Yeah, they do go out to clear out halls, and they play all the natural starting positions for a T who's just looking for information. There's some information gathered by CR4ZY as well as they do some damage onto Banana, but ultimately they go into a very normal way to take the A site with the Arch wrap, and in my opinion, provided you have the nades, that's the optimal way to attack the site. I really don't like sticking in halls when there's so many close angles for pistols to work, and I don't like going up lane where there's this really strong crossfire from CTs from pit to site. So I think they approach that the correct way. They get off with minimal losses. We move now into a rifle round where we've got a double stack at Arch, a couple of CTs who threw some initial grenades but immediately shied away, and that has allowed Heroic to actually encroach quite quickly to the top of Banana.
Really no contest though. CT is not attempting to bunker in on the top of Banana.
So all they want to know for sure is that nobody's looking down on Banana. Then the world is their oyster. As we can see, they're at the top of mid, but as far as CR4ZY know, they're getting ready to full exec B. So this is perfect in Heroic's mind.
See if Letty can stand tall here. You'd hope that double up on Arch side would be enough to block off the majority in mid, but Letty's got what could be 3 Ts about to barrage him. He goes ahead and throws another smoke. This wall up from the T side does get Bore up into the pit. No one's caught until Snappy drops, and that's the bomb as well. Lots of info offered, and Borup gets within the mix. Now, Letty, he knows he's pinned. He feels this heat, so he gets his feet on to the bomb site itself. He's got reinforcements coming in. That's Emmy out of library. That flash blinds Letty, and when he pops back out of here, he is being held. Esperanto, though, a second surprise, and yet everyone dies. Heroic were waiting for their gunfight. Chips into the mix. If only he could have lined them up, but with an MP9, he was always at a disadvantage. And now CR4ZY R2, 4-0. Pistol, conversions, and the first gun round all the way of the Danes.
And we're already seeing kind of the amount of things that they can do. That was nice. Now, that hinges on 2 things. That if somebody's playing on top of the balcony like Letty was on Inferno when they played against Avangar, then that can serve as a problem. Here, they only have to kill the one pit player, if there even was one, get pit control, and then wait for their own smokes to come up so that they can approach the site. The idea is just have your backs against the wall in pit, and then all of your fights are much easier moving on to A, and we saw that that was the case as they easily crushed the 3 players that were there. Back to pistols here for CR4ZY. Chips on a Mag 7 because he's just so good with it. But it looks like Heroic going back to A. And again, if they do this R trap, I feel as though it's the most consistent way to take the site. Even though it's kind of a split, it's not very convoluted. And once you pass this cubby area and you clear that out, it's straight shooting, it's long angles. But as long as you can find at least on Inferno.
That one adds a bit to the mix. A smoke that could very well be occupied. Ooh, Otto lucky to still be standing and not for much longer. Good information exchange there to get down a smoke spam kill. Can he grab himself another? Because Emmy's here too. Good damage. That's 2 players from Heroic dropped to subpar HP. But neither of which, of course, taken down. Still, the pit players remain. And Ships has that shotgun slowly coming through CT spawn. Molotov at the feet of Letny. Again, he's been made uncomfortable by such consistent utility. He's a sitting duck. And Esperanto, fully blind, has a player just next to him. Borup, easy kill. That's 2 flash assists from Snappy, just blinding and dismantling the defense.
It's persistent because they're going for the R trap again, but it's careful, it's meticulous. They actually win with 5 alive. They wait patiently for all their fights, and then once they get their fights, they don't actually worry about wrapping Arch anymore because they've used some smokes to bait the CTs into pushing.
Yes.
And the CTs threw their own counter smoke as well. So then they group up for that regular A hit to pit, have a molly for that as well. And it just feels like they're checking all the boxes on these very, very careful Anticos. Super solid round so far from Heroic. You really love to see this level of clean play.
Good off shot and a leg too to Snappy. Such a confident peek with the USP again, Chips. 3 players on this gun round. He looks to get crazy on the board. He did it through Mirage. Round after round. And they needed something to break them through here on Inferno. He's gonna swap this out, goes for the 4K. Chips gunning on the ace.
He's just magical, isn't he? He can just find a way to get kills with almost no help at every turn. Plus, his first shot accuracy is insane. He finishes off the second player with a USP bullet. He tagged him with the op while he was jumping across his screen. He's making top tier players look foolish. And then this is just not even a flash in the pan. He's done this 4K before. He's aced at this tournament.
I mean, they kind of lean on him to get the ball rolling, and we saw this with Mirage. You know, Esperanto and Emmy slower starts, but by the end of the match, they were right up there with Ships, who of course adds the 5th to the tally.
Almost no help.
None.
The only thing, his teammates did have 1 flash that helped him on Banana, but ultimately it was players that could see him. I mean, where you're going to see him aiming forward at people who were shooting directly back and him taking them out 1 at a time.
Yep. Emmy's flash helps with the 3rd kill. The spam distraction kind of topples down, but that's an ace through and through, and a gun round too. Now they're on the board. They broke the seal. And for him to do that as well, like, not to pull out an ace in a 2v5 or something like that. No, right from the beginning of the round. Nobody else takes damage on Crazy.
Yeah, make them terrified to take Banana. That was his goal. That's what he reached.
So much economic ground regained from the result of that one. 5 survivors, but maximum 4 if Crazy are to convert into a second round. Good trade frag into the apps. Let me from the corner. The 2-man Balk setup after the boiler kill doesn't get smelled out by Heroic, and they lose their A play. Cadian trying to round Arch side leaves his 2 remaining teammates isolated down Banana.
Heroic have been working Banana and Halls at the same time a lot of these rounds. Maybe Crazy have seen that, or they were just saying it'll happen eventually. They have that 3 men here that were there to fight it. Chips finds the easy one, looks for the next. He won't get that kill. And there's potential here that Snappy can plant, but I feel like Ships is not the type to give him the respect.
Not at all.
No.
He just swings wide. Frag grenade softened it up through smoke. Good rotation and a good showing from Ships. It took the 5-0 start from Heroic to light that fire, but the sparks quickly turned to a flame. Crazy. Fire in their eyes. Look to tie with 3 more needed.
We've got a call. We've got a pause called already. Heroic could have guessed it. Of course, they call them early. One of the only teams you see doing that you know, before it gets too late, which we really appreciate. So here, CR4ZY win their back-to-back rounds. They had the ace. They had this round that was good from all players. Everybody contributed. So they really want to just kind of cool that down, ice the kicker, if you will. They've actually, it's crazy to pick up a second op on this round. Esperanto, he isn't the one, sorry. Otto and Chips are both going to have one on opposite sides. Otto does do a good job on Inferno of being in multiple places very quickly, and I think that's going to be a highlight for CR4ZY and something that can ensure that they can really pull back this retake, take the momentum, and really drive it home. There's a bit of bank here to work with as well, so it's not an extremely risky buy to spend this much money on AWPs. The 3 banana setup initially from the CTs. Will now get thinned out a little bit, but one of the values of having the op on banana is that he's relatively safe. He can get information, you know, 6 to 7 seconds in advance of a player that can, once spotted, get to the top of banana. So that strengthens A so much because you can just rotate out.
Oh my god. Borup. Heard, I think, the impact of the utility. Goes for the spam through smoke and, of course, picks up the kill. Now, that also gives him pit control for free because of this wall of smokes we've already seen. He's good from this position. Oh, what? Just taps Emmy down, and he's going to activate, wrapping into the site. Otto drops him, but there's so many T's still near. They do not know about Esperanto. He has the element of surprise, but dies regardless. Flash assist from Stown aplenty, and Heroic barrel their way into the A site yet once more. You can't help but feel like that all happens because Borup wins a duel in apps without ever seeing anyone.
Versus Letny. Letny sitting up on the hall, that's like his de facto position. He's always going to end up there if he has like the hint that it might be some kind of halls play, and he's really good at multi-fragging from that spot. So I actually think once they got that kill for free, they changed the strat a little bit because they knew that they had a better read on the setup with him there. They know there's not a second player in pit. So they have the smokes go down for pit control, but Borup can actually jump in by himself, and everybody starts to come up mid instead, because they don't have to now wait for the smokes to dissipate before they can attack the site. But then Borup just jumps up and gets that second amazing one-tap to the corner of Arch, and that solidifies things completely. So he was important to get them into the site, and he was important to help them close the round out.
Attack pause coming out of CR4ZY. Not wanting to let this game slide too far.
Yeah, I think for this tech pause, you maybe are calling specifically to figure out how you're buying, if you need an op at all, if you want to change things up. But in terms of momentum or whatever, that round is like a little rough, but I wouldn't think too hard about it, right? If Letny dies through a smoke and he tells my team that like, oh dude, he just spammed me through the smoke, no big deal. Like, you're gonna assume that's not gonna happen twice. And in fact, sometimes Letny's the one to get the kill through the smoke. So you can run that play again, it's totally fine. And it's also one of those spots that's not a gimmick position. It's somewhere where you're going to play multiple times a half, and it's still going to be hard for the other team to kill you. Yeah, we need to ring up PETA after this match because there are a lot of chicken deaths, and the crowd is not happy.
Whoa, Emmy feels this one. Getting spammed back, but they want to dodge the grenades. Nice frags coming out of CR4ZY. That utility has Heroic tuck tail near immediately. They tried to sprint to get out of it, and it almost put them in a worse position. You said that yesterday, happens sometimes, right? You see frags bouncing off the wall, and your instinct is to retreat. But the artillery lands behind the front line.
Call of the Void.
Yeah. Come get it. Served fresh by CR4ZY. Now looking to use that initial bout of damage to turn into their very third round. They'd still be only at half the score of Heroic, having an excellent T side, and maybe even then some, because they have an open route through CT spawn.
I think they're going to come back to A, though.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to probably post up, wait for rotations, but because CR4ZY's information has been completely blocked off at B, they don't feel comfortable making a move. They're probably anticipating some kind of B split. They're probably hoping for it, to be honest, because they haven't made a move. But since, yeah, we're seeing our number 5-man Borup in the halls, kind of comfortably sitting here, it makes more sense for them to go A because they don't have someone on banana.
The Molotov, the back of sight, an indicator as to what's to come. Esperanto tapping for the headshot.
Oh!
Gets a second. Low Hopper as well in Cadian, but Borup's close, and Letny is going to emerge into the mix. A 2 versus 4 on this A site completely counters Heroic. They get into spawn, they pump the brakes, they play those mind games. But cerebral gamers on the side of CR4ZY just commit to pit. They had no other option.
Yeah.
You don't want to just walk out and get caught by the short player.
We talk about it often, but really, the only difference between some of these players is how comfortable they are when the stakes are the highest. And whenever I see Esperanto play, it feels like he's playing with the calmness of an online match at home. You know, here's a spot where you can easily get one tapped, no one would even think twice about it. You'd have to look forward to the next round. You knew you were getting crushed, you knew you were going to have support from your teammates. Like, that's when it's going to be the most difficult to aim if you're Esperanto in that pit position. But there he is, barely using any bullets, lining up 2 frags easily, and completely winning the round for his team.
Ships tries to get aggressive. Looks to set an early tone to round number 10, and instead, wrecked. What are they gonna do without his op? What are they gonna do without their star? Look to fall back into the same defense, it seems.
Yeah, Letney's just, you know, he's going to be comfortable in this spot. You're going to see him here over and over again.
They're coming fast. Otto's already known to the other side. CR4ZY, their B players have already come for the rotation. You say Letney plays this often. Well, we'll see if they expect it. Esperanto's gonna come in with a spray through the edge of the smoke, drops bomb. This slows everything down. If Emmy can maintain mid control, they could just focus. But that trajectory of the nade tells them Letney's here, and it's a complete clear of the A site. Heroic frags aplenty.
Yeah, frags aplenty. Oh my God. They played it patiently. They waited to the crossfire. I was going to say the main reason they go for that pit control strat is so that they don't have to deal with a situation like that where they're holed up at lane and they know that somebody's crossfiring the site and the pit, or in this case, the balcony, and yet they still are able to win. It's a peek Esperanto takes is like almost a shoulder peek. He's just like, I hope I get some information, maybe get a shot in, but I just don't want to die. And then obviously learns that he'll regret that soon after as Cadian hits a very, very clean op shot. So that opens things wide. And Letney's spot becomes a whole lot more vulnerable when he doesn't have a teammate in sight, just to make it unsafe for the T's to get any further up. But we at least still have a rifle buy here for CR4ZY. They're quite low on grenades. This round, they've managed to avoid ships dying early. He is only on an SMG. But they're not totally limited on information, even though they don't have banana. They're at least kind of scouring around mid. We're even foraying into halls. Up into the window room, we're going to spot somebody in alt, and that's actually a kill. Lockdown, 5v4 now, and that makes up for some of the nades that they don't have.
Burst, though, is near. Gonna follow up with a bit more grenades. Otto opts not to run through smoke. Heroic have nothing but this banana control. 40 seconds to play with if they want to go back, but that would shave so much time off the clock. Unless they run haphazard back through mid. No clearing of the underpass. They could push through apps, but if that's the case, it's gonna be very late by the time they hit this site.
Look at this dog tag right here in Asta tag. He is standing here holding 3 CTs from rotating as his teammates are working on taking A.
Yep.
And he's gotten 2 of 3 already. He's not even being peeked until it's too late. But time is low. Letney can make this happen. He gets the spray in. The bomb cannot get planted. He's actually won the round.
On his own, denies that plant. CR4ZY not falling for that bait, but such an awesome attempt regardless. Esitag had them convinced, and you could see the number 8 man, Esperanto. He was floating at the side of Arch, thinking to himself he needs to go B. Especially once Esitag starts to wrap around CT spawn. Imagine if that third B player wasn't there to get the kill and reaffirm that A still needed to be held. It was a corner commitment and a dangerous play on time. We saw Heroic, in fact, lose so many rounds earlier today on Inferno because of moments like that.
Time running out.
Yes, wasting, not wasting, but running the clock down to the final few moments, and then being denied a bomb plant, or the planter's killed and no one can recuperate bomb fast enough, even though they're in what seems like such an advantage. And look at the result of that last round. Double deagle up for Heroic.
Yeah.
And it's only a 3-round difference.
It could just be that 2-for-1 situation. And it's also, I try to think about the confidence from the IGL. You lose a round like that, you kind of wonder if it's your fault, if your teammates aren't listening, but in either circumstance, it's extremely frustrating. You're losing a round that you feel like is free in your mind, or that a fundamental mistake is the reason you lost. And that can be somewhat disheartening. So hopefully they bounce back, but they're going to have to try to do that with such worse weaponry. It's not a great situation to try to pull off a fake. They have 4 smokes, which is great for an execute, but to try to rocket back to another site after using some grenades, that's probably not an option. So as we cross the 30-second mark, it looks like Heroic have their eyes set on A.
Utilities up and over. CT flash doesn't do too much. Still, smoke spam, and they have Auto up above. Letney plays within the pit. A 4-man cohort of Heroic players trying to push their way through short, and Esperanto's having none of it! Just denies them all. 7 seconds, this op invaluable tries to retreat, and it seems like he will move his feet further. You go. Get out, Katie, and they give chase. They smell blood in the water.
Boy.
And man, he dances with death.
Yeah, don't get the wrong idea, guys. If you use the M4A1, it's not going to do that for you. It's just Esperanto things. That was a very clean 3K. And I think it is partially the fact that he has like such a high level of mechanical skill plus so much confidence. He never uses too many bullets. So, you know, even when he was in that pit, I believe he had the M4A4, but he still was going for these 2-bullet burst fires and not going for us full spray. So he's kind of trained himself to make sure he's never going to run out of ammo, no matter what gun he's using.
Yeah, he goes for that precision with the Colts.
Yeah, so that was super sick. But yeah, we're actually seeing these wall smokes come out with lane plays and they're kind of trying to use that to be its own fake within the site, making it seem like they were going for pit control, but instead are actually just doing a regular A take. And in that situation, they were blocking 2 players off, Letney and Auto, but they still found ways to be useful. A heavy grenade lands at the feet of 3 players on Banana. And Op is on the board, but their odds of winning are still very low. A Glock shot is the one to open up Banana. A great flash allows the M4 to come to play, and Esperanto puts it together with another 3-piece, and Chips will finish the round off.
What a 1-2 punch combo coming round Banana. I mean, I had to have been a lack of head armor from Emmy.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure there was no dink, just one shot between the eyes. And Esperanto just throws himself into that mix. I mean, of course, he knows Chips is behind him, but knowing farewell that you have an M4A1S for a potential 4 to 5-man spray down, great effort, great recuperation. They got that 1 foot in the door, and it was slammed shut. Esperanto's feeling it now. We're back into the gun round, and he's already slipped past, but he's spotted, and it's not even gonna make a difference. He tries to get more, and Borup's gonna contain him, but there's a scope immediately put in his place, and sure enough, it pans out. The man advantage maintained as Heroic finally came back in with a bye. We said maybe round 4 for Crazy would create the 2-1, but no, they got 3 rounds out of it because of the ecos they won. And now straight into the gun round, they hit them with madman momentum.
Yeah, and that's really egregious opening that ends up working out beautifully. Like at the very least, Heroic are tilted. Esatag, can he save the day? 3 to 4, and Chips, he looked like he was in hold W mode. He's actually now being a bit more patient. He's solo on the site, doesn't want to give this up, doesn't want to die. Throws a flash, falls back, and leaves Esatag without any options. So very good from him to be that patient. He's spread out, looking for anything, a clue for a kill, whatever they can find, and yet Crazy have not given them 1 piece, 1 tidbit, 1 crumb. Heroic now pick a site at a disadvantage. Ships, the star player they'll have to run into. He's got an AK, he's got a kit, but he doesn't have grenades. This will be a pure duel.
Smoke and Molotovs rain inwards. Ships within the mix. Just takes a straight up aim fight, but the flash blinding, so he falls back. 8 seconds. Again, we're talking about time. Time has been the issue, and he goes for the spam, but he can't get Cadian. He actually hits Borup in the background. A bit of a freebie, and while bomb does go down, you'd think still Heroic shouldn't hold this. A 2 versus 4. Estetag activates on a construction, and he's denied by Emmy. So Cadian flanked. Cadian never saw it coming. They shouldn't have been able to get too much more once bomb went down. They knew that, and sure enough, that's how it all unfolds. We are tied up, Mohan, at 7 rounds apiece.
This started out 5-0 for Heroic, and we're just about as close as we possibly can get. You know, somebody's gonna be in a slight lead at the end of this half, but who in confidence won the half? I couldn't tell you. I don't know who's feeling better about it. Heroic having a strong start and then losing that lead, I can feel worse than the fact that they might end with 8. You know, the fact that it was crazy to figure them out, crazy to hold strong, you know, come back off of Chips' strong ace on Banana, and then follow up with rounds after that. I think that says a lot more. As for Ronto, he's made his way down mid. They don't bother checking him because who would do it twice?
Cadian responding with one, at least from ramp, so they try to regain this mid control. It's not a round that's too far gone, and it's one they still have to play for the win, so saves out of mind. They're gonna have to brew up a Hail Mary.
We've got an identical situation.
Yeah. It's been the story of Rotterdam. One-sided map picks into the most back-and-forth map 3s you could imagine. The most back-and-forth map 3s you could possibly hope for. And this first half, no difference. A slight man advantage, but a huge utility advantage here for Crazy. Whether it be to hold off the bomb site or the retake even, they've got a fast flank for Emmy if needed through mid.
Also, a lot of information. They've got the fast flank. They know nothing's B. The rotates are in. This is going to be a hell of a hard round for Heroic to try to muster up.
But there is a hole. There's a hole through Arch towards B. Because you have that Banana flank, and Chips just gave up the library control. But Cadian is going to fall back into Emmy. Now that they have this kill, just go B. If they split this, there's no defense.
Oh, this is cool. Cadian not actually running to Banana, but shutting down rotates at Moto.
Not just bamboozled, but frazzle-dazzled. I mean, completely outplayed. They were just corralled into the A site like sheep.
And they're not expecting this, are they? Cadian, is he going to peek as soon as... Oh, he's going to hear some information. 2 sets of footsteps down B. This alerts his 5-man. Borup is going to have a big advantage with these fights. He gets the first kill. As he inches away, Cadian cleans up the second, and Letney doesn't know what the hell is going on.
So sick. Esperanto thought he could charge down middle, take this last round by storm. He's brewing with confidence at that point, and understandably, it worked so well. But they claw back, and not all the way just yet, however. Letney loses 2 teammates, and he has this kit, but he's going to need the aim duels. Both keys ready. He takes one more, but it's as close as can be as we finish this half. You couldn't go anywhere, folks, because the last half of DreamHack Rotterdam comes up after the break. You couldn't have it closer. Here we are in the third map of the grand finals, and after a first half that looked like Heroic could have blown them out of the water. 5-0 was the start, 8-7 the final score for them. A slight edge as they come into the pistol, but the pistols is where they have their edge. Oh!
And we see just why, and we see exactly why. Ston, absolutely surgical.
Oh, but a greatly timed flashbang blinded them both. A gush to Snappy convinces him back. He wants nothing to do with another fight.
Yeah, looking to thread the needle though one more time. Crossing wide into CT spawn. No targets to find. One CT in Esatag dug deep into the A site, and Chips has made his way around the corner. Snappy, does he catch him off guard? No, but he spots him. Interesting. Rotations are in a dangerous place now. Snappy can't even help out. Is Chips going to make a huge play right now? There's a chance. And the first player will be Ston.
Back in for more. Snappy, despite the health disadvantage, goes ahead and gives it up. However, they have put a lot of pressure on Borup in the back of B. There is utility to block off these rotators, so it could be a very well 3-on-1, unless Cadian just charges through smoke to try and help. Borup's not going to offer up even a shoulder for the moment. Mid-air and the follow-up. Now Emmy surrounded and down. Heroic will take, of course, their classic pistol.
The classic pistol, the second one of the map, the 81st one of the tournament. I don't even know. They can't be stopped. And that was a nice adjustment from CR4ZY. I like the thought with Chips in CT spawn. The way he cut off rotations, I wouldn't have played it better myself if I slowed it down and thought about it. So I think he had the right idea. Even got that kill on Ston, but Snappy killing him when he had 12 HP. That's the real heroic move. Ston back in action.
Ooh, they heard
all
that.
the top down, and it's death by grenades. Esperanto
Again.
burned and then demolished. Just not even a chance to shoot in this round.
He has been alive for about a total of 10 seconds on this T side. Of all the players to get wrecked early, don't want his name on the list.
So Esperanto.
Yeah, he's that second man behind Chips at the moment.
Who are we lauding in terms of the more stats tab? The tab that should be the first tab.
Yeah, the one with ADR.
ADR.
Enemies flashed.
I think it'll always be good to see highest ADR at the top, highest utility damage at the bottom.
Yeah. Get it out of here. Cadian. Easy cleanup was what he expected, but Chips will best him. Letney resides inside a smoke. And this bomb awkwardly close to Stown, who now jumps back a little. It's on the back of Chips. So they'll give up that CT spawn. But I mean, we saw moments like this from CR4ZY's defense when you have the two defenders inside of pit.
Yeah.
You just have to turtle up
Yeah, this
an
is
army of two.
This is only a real problem if the players coming around Arch have long-range weapons, which they don't. So significant advantage. Though Esatag's only got a UMP.
7 seconds though, 7 seconds and bombs in the back of the site. Low HP for the little that remains. And Chips at least gets that bomb down with just the sidearm, seeing as he chucked the M4 to Emmy. No surprise that no one else dies for the defense, but a plant's a plant.
Yeah, it's a small victory, but it is still a victory. CR4ZY getting them the money off of this round is very unlikely, considering they barely invested anything. So this walk into Arch seems to be a consistent feature for both teams. There we have the mosey into CT, wait for rotation type play, bleed the clock down, and then make a late round attempt at A. And again, they get the plant out of it. So Heroic, they're in touching distance. They get to 10, double digits first. There's a 3-round deficit for CR4ZY. It's not a lot, but it is the T side. It can be kind of the more worrying side to try to win rounds on. That being said, we know they have one, so expecting, it's certainly not over in their minds. Nades come sailing across Letney. Smoke lands before him. HE goes past, and he ends up having so much HP, I feel like he's happy to play around. No CTs at the top of Banana to mess with him. But what's on CR4ZY's mind? They still haven't set the pace for the second half. It's unclear what they feel like is their best option. Molotov to the end of halls is clearly to serve as a distraction. There's no one there to complement it at the end of halls. And so Now it seems like these Apex Predators have their eyes set on B.
They'll get ever closer. Not the defense that's best equipped compared to A. It's just the SMGs here. The two weak weapons. And Emmy gonna make quick work of the first. Down comes around the corner, and then Snappy peeks into 3 Ts. I mean, he had 0 chance at that.
Yeah. That was such a nice entry.
Immediate save.
Okay, the thing is, like, it's hard. You cannot take that round and think this is a good strategy or this is a bad strategy. It's just one that they wanted to take a risk on. So if Emmy doesn't get the kill, they're probably all dead because all the rest of them are coming in smoke blind. And there's a CTA standing at oranges that'll have the easiest time in the world mowing them down. And at worst case, getting 2 or 3. So Emmy has to absolutely win his duel. He's the one to take damage in the molly, and as a trade, will come out with full vision. He comes into a fight with like 70 HP, he wins the trade straight up, and that makes the site completely compromised.
All his. Dude, we have a very sensitive crowd here in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
They don't like those chicken deaths.
I mean, you've got to be consistent. If you're mad about the first chicken death, you've got to be just as mad or more mad about the 5th. At least they're consistent.
Only fans of human violence, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
You know,
so,
nothing
yeah.
wrong with that.
There's no such thing as a good human.
Leave the
Only
chickens
good,
out of it.
Good chicken, good doggo.
Let's go. Back into the gun round, all right? Everybody's full-fledged rifles up. Smokes, incendiaries, everything they could hope for Heroic. Attempting to hang on to the little lead they have. The leash shortening as Crazy catch up. Esperanto looking to take a bite out of their legs. But nobody's even barked. There's been no audio cues at all. Just this utility starting to get exchanged, and the damage is significant. Both Stown and Esperanto dropped into the 40s. Both players, huge impact for each of their teams.
Yeah, I love how Heroic are just fighting this, like tooth and nail, just not allowing them to get car control for free.
Yeah.
Because then why wouldn't Heroic try B again? It worked out so well for them that last round. Either way, they've denied them information. There's 3 players from Heroic who are standing up at B, and you can understand why.
Not now.
This aggressive all stand up is going to be met with 3 Ts in their face. Cadian was there.
Back. He's gonna get that op back on cycle, needs a close shot, and he misses. Now he needs to fall, and he's not gonna be given another chance. This is 4 Ts to foray into A. I mean, the setup, you know exactly what they're hoping for. They're waiting for those Ts to come across that gap in apps. But just as Estetag walks forward and Cadian turns his scope.
So there's a push and pull, right?
The
So
timing.
They deny information at B, and the response can be for Heroic to just overstack B and just hope that they come their way.
Yeah, wait
but
at the nades.
the longer that goes on, the more you're worried about A, right? You've only got 2 players there. So what we saw was a response to the B aggression in Halls. He goes a bit more aggressive because now he's a little bit worried that if they don't get info early, rotations can't come back from B, that he'll die and then they'll lose the round.
Yep.
But that actually pushes them into the decision that Crazy want.
Could have had
And that's why he looks like he looks foolish, but he's doing that because of the fact
there is a
that
need.
they lacked, they lacked B info.
There's demand for information. I mean, you can't just have 2 Ts standing in A when mid is wide open. Your arch wrap could compromise your B setup.
Exactly.
It's like, it's his job to go do something, and it just so happens to be the worst case of timing we've seen.
Yeah, worst case Ontario. Starting to grow on me.
Yeah.
Starting to feel for these tickets. All right, once
Nades
again.
down Banana.
Yeah, it's been absolute Dunkirkness up on Banana.
Esperanto walking out of here shell-shocked. But at least he's not dying to those nades anymore.
I feel like he'd look the same shell shock as he would Happy. And that's pretty much a reference because I'm sure Happy would be the same.
It's a man who thrives in the violence.
He forehead.
Close smoke this time, not inside of apps. Now they push past Boiler. You know, still adamant in getting this apartment's control and the information that comes with it. Justify shuffling Essetag back.
Okay, so so they don't want to fall for it twice. We're looking at a replay right now, basically. You can see by the positions. The only difference, Esperanto on top of Banana, he's staying here. The CTs, what are they doing? They're not leaving A, there's no way.
Even if they haven't left it, they've left a huge opening here towards porch side.
Yeah, they're just gambling for a mid to B or also just Arch presence.
Right, the bomb's right there.
But they're calling it right.
Emmy carries this, and there's a counter flash player as well. Borup's going to be tested first. If these Ts just head the other way, they're screwed. But there's a chance that the counter-terrorists can lock this in. Bomb sees that threat and immediately changes directions. Esperanto, one-man show at the B site. And this is going to draw the bomb back, and he's done it all.
This guy!
What a turn back. I mean, they fell for the polar opposite of this last time. The B lurk was nothing but a lurk. This time, it's the entry, and Cadian's left scratching his head in the midst of this A site. Crazy tie at 10, and we've got 10 rounds left to go.
We have a game. Oh my God. Esperanto, man. That's ridiculous.
Just cracking
They
noggins.
were waiting for this one strat, for someone to eventually get to B. It's Esperanto alone.
Walks through smoke. What's up?
What's up, it's your boy. Holy hell, man. That's just crazy. That's crazy because even at the other side of the map, they have the correct setup for what's to come.
Yeah.
Read like a book and still lost.
I'm liking these mid-rounds from Crazy. You know, Heroic, adamant on Inferno. No slouch here. But in these mid-rounds we've seen so far of the second half, you've got to tip your hat to Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and like, you know, Heroic win that round 9 times out of 10.
Sure.
But you got a player like Esperanto, he's going to pull it off for you, and this is, again, where it matters the most. So we have the chance now for Crazy to take a lead for the first time in the game, I believe.
Ships and Esperanto combined for 31 of their team's 55 kills.
Wow.
So again, these are the two we tout as fraggers. Me, oh my, have they shown up. Quintuple smoke setup from Heroic. Looking to just burn time off the clock. A classic on Inferno.
Yeah, a classic, and it's because it's really hard to stop. Even if you know what's coming, you just don't see what's on the other side of the smoke. It's really scary to send your rifles in halls because that's kind of pistoling territory. So we'll see how the smokes get used. First one hasn't even come out yet, so if you let them up brackets, things get a little bit more complicated because are you going to also smoke lane and arch? But it certainly seems like this is like their intended plan because they could have smoked middle already. So they've got a T infestation, and I don't know what their solution is. Oh, okay. They've thrown an arch smoke, and it looks like they're just going to use them all over the site. Oh, okay. That's a rude awakening for Borup. He's out.
Yeah. See you next round. Emmy, gonna charge through smokes here. Cadian, he's good for one, and they haven't found him. Until Esperanto, of course, through smoke and just sideways B-hops. Dude. Oh, but it stopped. Bombs dropped 20 seconds. And there's 2 CTs here, so luckily they've picked it back up and tucked it away into the safety of the mid-site. Sheps back in on short. Spots down. And Opper takes Snappy out of the equation. So another great pistol dink means these pistols are still scary. Heroic, not slouches.
Yeah, not slouches. Threat neutralized. They don't have much to worry about. And Crazy, they go ahead and take a lead into round 22. 11-10 now as we move into another rifle round. It's going to be the immediate double op pickup here. Cadian and Ston going in with the most expensive weapons. They're probably going to try to split up here. And on the first round that you have a double op, you have the opportunity to funnel a kill into the other player without letting the other team know. Take one shot with the op, then they think they're avoiding the op, and then they get a little bit more flagrant on their peaks on the other side of the map. We'll see if that ends up being the case here. But it's not like anyone's going to go out of their way to try to get a kill with the op if it means they die, because this is certainly a consistent way to win. It's definitely not a gimmick. Oh, that was very confident from Ston to take that readjustment to try to dodge a flash. Oh my goodness.
Esperanto. I mean, the timings, okay? Go back to Mirage. He runs out mid. Here on Banana, he swings out wide. Like, he's so confident in the speed of which he peaks and the duels of which he takes that it's hard to kind of box in a player like that. It's hard to contain such a beast. He's snarling at them.
Yeah, he's taunting them. Cadian's gonna rocket over to the...
Yep.
They've got a double school setup. No smoke here just yet. A boost to see over top of the smoke, but there is no smoke. Okay, there it is. Yeah, that would have actually counted against them.
Oh, an auto from Banana.
Top guy off.
Drop kick to the chest. And a 2 versus 5 is where we're left. Snappy evens it slightly, but Emmy still stands tall. He's got 8 health inside of construction, and his teammates nowhere to be found. I mean, at this point, his job's to survive. Take some bodies with you if you can, but caged like a rat. He had nowhere to go.
Man.
It took them 21 rounds to get here, but CR4ZY finally, for the first time in Inferno, got their lead, and they're not going to give it up as fast as could be.
Oh my God, man. And yeah, no saves whatsoever. So, you know, what's defining this half, from my perspective, is sick individual plays. Like, there, Ston makes a slight error in, he trusted himself to readjust after a flash, but he didn't aim properly. It was CR4ZY made the right play. They flashed across so Esperanto could peek. He didn't do that dry. He wasn't dry peeking an Opera, you know, and then he gets the kill. That's kind of what's supposed to happen. So Heroic don't beat the odds there. And that's an expensive round. They lose 2 ops, they're back on a save. And at a certain point, even though there's been a sick individual play that can be attributed to all of these important rifle round wins, after a certain amount of rounds have passed, you're going to forget that. And you're going to forget that you were playing well, but you were still losing. And you're just going to think, man, this scoreline is daunting. Man, how are we going to win this game? Man, it feels like it's coming to a close. So this will be a true test of resilience for Heroic, because honestly, we've still seen a lot of good stuff from their CT side.
They go back to their smoke eco. And if you don't think CR4ZY are confident, you're nuts. They run through gun duels, they run through dry peaks. They show no fear. So smoke grenades, so what? Emmy's gonna charge right through it, of course. Blinded in the process, but still he gets into the site. Now, Esperanto's tagged down low. Snappy never knows what hit him. Emmy able to get one, but they don't know Stound's back here. He now emerges into the mix, can't even get himself a second. That Opper just pivots like a turret. Artillery fire in the middle of B site. Shoot. This is a 13th round for CR4ZY, and not just any 13th round, but one that comes as the 6th in their spree of T victories. They have been unstoppable in this second half.
Yeah.
They lost pistol, there was a conversion, and immediately they started putting them on the board. Now, sure, they will lose another body towards the end of this, but we're getting in to the rounds that economy shies away.
Yeah, it matters less and less. You know, we're getting there. We're getting there, not quite, but yeah, we're close. Here's another thing. They're not losing their ecos anymore. Heroic have been really good at ecoing the other team.
Yes.
And CR4ZY have been quite consistent.
Wow.
You know, we look at 1 or 2 ecos and then you think, all right, well, the scoreline could be flipped. So all in all, even though CR4ZY have been outplayed in some of the early rounds in the first half, and they even lost both pistols in this game, they're still managing to get the meat, the breadth of the rifle rounds in total. And for that reason, you could say they've already won the map in some regard. Certainly mentally they have.
Yeah, they're in a very confident spot. So this final 30-second pause called by Snappy better come with a solution.
It doesn't feel like, I will say for Snappy, it always feels like he comes through with a new idea, never gives up.
Fair, yeah.
He's always, he's never going to shut down on you, I think. At least that's what it looks like from the outside.
This is aggressive.
And here's Emmy moving at what looks like a faster than possible movement speed. He gets the Molotov kill. That's an enormous trade. You know, when we look at CS sometimes, we see CT-sided maps. When it's 5v5, that's where the advantage is. When you're into the 4v4, that's when it's unclear whether or not the Ts are actually ahead. And most maps, I'd say, the Ts are at a distinct advantage, and certainly the CTs are afraid at this moment. Cadian all alone on the B bomb site. He's opping at the very least, but he's not going to have many fallback options, and there is a whole human centipede level line of Ts waiting to get their turn at killing him.
Completely on his own. First player rounds the corner and he gets him. Ships is removed first. Now, one man takes the high road and he doesn't see it. He still is able to flick up and take Esperanto. That's such a crucial shot from Cadian, seeing as it maintains Heroic's man advantage. And Snappy just creeps into the back of construction. Otto is gonna have that scope up, but with a teammate in front, he dies first. Second, Snappy gets in.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. That was a precarious situation, going 1-for-1 that early. Cadian getting left at B, at the top of B. So not even given the situation to take a shot at half wall, fall back to car, fall back to the corner wall, fall back to site, go back to quad, and have all of those opportunities to shoot. He's only got 2. He takes a shot in an aggressive angle, on a flat angle versus players who are going to be strafing across the screen the fastest. He nails that one. He falls back and then finds another very unlikely shot, and as you pointed out, maintains an incredibly important man advantage. Snappy obviously made quick work of the remaining 2 players, but if you didn't have the man advantage, it could have still been a different round.
Of course, you think if there's 3 Ts left and one watches cross smoke, one plants bomb, and someone could have gotten into construction where Snappy tucked away. Because both Ts were occupied with a plant, he had that forward position, and you saw it catch them off guard. So a hell of a way for him to take the final pause, for Cadian to set him up, and for Snappy to shut it down. They cut the lead to 2. But the economy of CR4ZY is so healthy still. It's not ecos anytime soon.
Yeah. And
it's down now. He's going to be tested at the same spot Cadian was.
Yeah. Going to be a repeat performance. No,
oh,
can't mirror his teammate. Gets caught on the half wall as well. And there's no op to back up. It's just Snappy. He can, at best, delay. I mean, him multi-fragging in this situation is completely unfathomable.
Esperanto's above him as well. Looking to stomp down. Snappy now tries to go to bat. And like you said, just one. Bomb plant's going in. Borup tries to disrupt it. And he's even going to spray for 2. He knows where Esperanto's got off to. And he's cleared him as well. Borup hits 18 frags and comes to life in a B site that they had to hold because the initial defense let that T onslaught slide straight through. But Ships, a godly player so far this event, is ready to clutch it out. And he's got 24 more seconds to do so. Smokes off the cross. And that's going to flush Cadian around through construction, leaving Borup still alone. But there you go. It's all he needs. A 4K in the B site to get them 1 round closer to tying it up.
This becomes an incredibly difficult game to call. And when by call, I mean IGL. If you're calling for CR4ZY right now, you're thinking, we get into the B site, we're getting an opening, we're making it 4v4 really quickly, we're making a lot of ground fast. But we're losing. The last 2 rifle rounds, we straight up lost. We actually got destroyed by the holds. It's the sick individual performances that got CR4ZY into the second half that are now working against them from Heroic. So what do? Do you call the same play? That's the big decision that's going to need to be made by Emmy. We're split up into a default. We're going to maybe reset the strategic situation. They maybe gave 2 attempts that were really well thought out at B. They almost worked, but those options passed. Now, that B defense has leveled up. They're getting better and better at figuring it out. Do you want to go and strengthen them more? You're in critical round territory, round 26. And it looks like they may be going to implore something new.
Another fading smoke. Emmy gets the best of him. And a huge gap now ready to be exploited into the A site. Ships with a crucial kill. Borup with everything to do. He had to come to life last round, and he's been tasked with everything yet once more, but he gets nothing. A shredded defense on the A site puts CR4ZY to 14. They take that 2-round lead right back.
Absolutely nothing to do with B this round. Emmy leads the way. Emmy once again gets that opening kill, like the one he did on Banana while he was getting Molotov'd and smoked out. He's been a leader and a hero, and this round is no exception. Really well done. 2 players at B, they have no options. They have an op, they just can't use it. They'll hold back. They're not going to be easy to hunt down. They're just going to have to take that L, move into the next round. And we'll see how they play it differently. Heroic now have 2 official problems. If they understaff B, it's a definite threat, and it's an appealing option for CR4ZY. But if they leave the op at B, and we see another strat like that, a walk around at Arch, that would have been prime for an op to try to pick apart, and the op is not there, then they're going to be kicking themselves for making that decision. So in my opinion, this comes down to how CR4ZY read it.
And the crowd starts to roar. trying to rally behind the home team heroics. But it's going to take exactly that to bring the counter-terrorists closer to tying. One more to secure OT at the least.
Similar setup. 3B stack, hop in play.
Yep.
Cadian up front. No one lost yet, just at the moment. Emmy leading the charge,
Lots
trying
of
to
noise.
entry. Cadian might get this free kill. No, he drops the shot. They both get away, but that's an opportunity lost.
Wow. A smoking barrel as Cadian falls into the B site and then starts immediately sprinting over towards library side. They're trying to get ahead of this. Not wanting to leave just a solo B defender, but still, they need to bolster this defense. They had 3 players here last round, and it got them nothing.
Nothing.
But they did also lose a player inside of apartments, right on the cusp. In this case, we've got that pick commitment from Estetag, but it's only an MP9. He's got Borup over on Arch locking it with the M4. It's really the opping of Cadian that has to come into this perfectly, and he's already pressured back, but Borup's in the bomb site. Estetag's able to get just one. Cadian dies to his own Molotov. This is not starting to work out at all. Bomb will be recuperated at the 20-second mark, and Crazy are staring a 15th round in the face.
Bomb site cracked wide open. Oh, this will have to be a superhero retake. 2 players coming in from the most.
Already dropped one. Letney pops out, and he comes in for the second. That's Crazy with 3 map and match points. Here in Rotterdam, the finals coming to an end. Or is it?
Or is it? I will never write Heroic out, not what the score line this close, but man, Crazy. Adaptations. They've shown they're not a one-trick pony. They've shown they need to force their entries into B, and they've done a couple of new strats there ahead of Hall's pop. You even have to appreciate how Cadian follows them to the A site after dropping that opportunity, having the read, bringing the op over to maintain that threat, but then ends up getting killed because Crazy don't go for that R trap one more time with a lingering lane player. Instead, this time they pop out Halls and he's none the wiser. You know, he died to his molly, but it was only the last tick. They sprayed him down to 20 HP as they jumped out of Halls, and it was the strat that caught him off guard one more time. Now they take an aggressive stance on B, but is it out of necessity? They don't have good weapons. A player dead already. We're up 5v4 in what could be the last round of the game.
Oh, and they're getting desperate. Caught in the smoke. Crazy can smell it now. Emmy jumping up Banana. Oh, Snappy with something, a saving grace perhaps. He at least cuts it to the 3v1, but that's it! Crazy take their win! A new roster coming out of the major. You wouldn't have thought they'd be able to perform, but my goodness, Launders, they've done it. Taking a DreamHack open. Taking an absolute brutal stomping on Nuke. 16-3 they lose. But their map choice and the same maps that they best Avant-Garde on, not just the newly formed Heroic, the Rising Danes, no, but Avant-Garde, top 5 teams etched into the belts of Crazy. A coach turned player, a Bulgarian star with no proven results as of yet, and yet now he walks away from his very first LAN with a trophy in his hand and a championship on his profile. Ladies and gentlemen of Rotterdam, give it up! Your inaugural champions, it is Crazy!
Well, they said it was all over for Crazy when Hunter and Nexa left, but this is a brand new beginning for the squad. This was a statement of intent. Crazy are here to stay. They have 2 new stars, one familiar to their fans, but definitely coming forward when he needed to, and Ships. We have to talk about Ships because at DreamHack Tour, when he was playing with Wendigo, he barely registered. He did his job, but not really much more. And now Potter. Now he is a name we're going to be talking about in the future.
I absolutely agree with you. We're going to be talking about Ships. We're going to be talking about Esperanto. We're going to be talking about every one of these crazy members. They certainly showed up here. And who would have thought the crazy move of removing Nexa and Hunter would produce these kinds of results? The rising stars within Ships, the rising stars within Esperanto, having so much room and freedom to breathe now without the superstars leading towards them. And man, this is surprising, but it was spectacular to watch.
This is not just spectacular. I'll be honest, I was one of those naysayers. I'm like, without Nexa and of course Hunter, with both of them leaving the team, I thought this team would kind of fall apart. Ships being added, I'm like, yes, he's always showed a lot of potential, but can he be the next Hunter, right? That's the question on everyone's lips. Emmy coming in from the coaching position to being an active player, can he really hold his own against a new breed of players? But my word, they have just proven everyone wrong. They've shut me up. And you can see me looking quite emotional over there. I like how the player is consoling the coach after that win. That is quite the opposite of what you would expect. Kudos to Heroic. They gave us a hell of a show. But my word, CR4ZY have just shown the world that they are here to stay.
And coming through the lower bracket, both of our final teams, in fact. And I have to remind you, those early matches, they were not easy for CR4ZY. That match against Havu, it looked like it could have been all over for CR4ZY before they even got to Sunday.
Exactly, and that's what's so beautiful, not only about this series, but their entire run throughout this tournament. Both of these teams, Heroic and CR4ZY, they had to claw their way to make it into these grand finals. And the greatest thing about this is we got to see so many versions of both of these squads, specifically CR4ZY. We saw the formulated game plans, the cohesion. Then we saw aggression coming out of Esperanto in the grand finals of the last map. Esperanto is just pushing down mid 2 times and getting rewarded for it. And the cojones for him to just bust that out, take the game into his own hands, and end it on this note, it is respectable.
Honestly, you mentioned cojones. I was surprised he was walking around with cojones of that size because he walked out through the smoke. Look, there is something called timing in Counter-Strike, right? But the way he was timing some of his pushes through the smoke, you can't learn that. You can't really deduce that. It's just some instinctual feeling, some freak of nature feeling that this guy possesses, and for him to bring it out when it mattered the most, what a performance from him as well.
And welcome back, Cadian.
Oh, welcome back, indeed.
Welcome back. That crowd is currently lifting him on their shoulders. Their aim, Heroics, was to get to this final. Of course, they're going to be disappointed that they couldn't quite make it work on Inferno, but they can't be sad about it because it was their aim to get through the groups. Again, newly restructured roster, and they really, really shone today. Their peak in the world is number 14 in the history of this roster, but I think, Blair, they've got potential to go even further.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. For them to lose here, there's nothing to be ashamed about, right? They actually had the upper hand on Inferno. They were countering. They were so structured. They were countering CR4ZY at every turn. But the thing with CR4ZY they elevated a level of play to a different degree altogether. Ships was just out of this world. Definitely my personal MVP for the tournament. Esperanto was huge. Everyone just clicked, and they had to really play at their peak capacity to take down Cadian and company. But I don't think they should be really taking anything bad away from this. Yeah, you lost the map, but it's okay. You know where you messed up. You can fix it easily. I think both these teams are definitely going to make a statement going into the near future, and other teams should be keeping an eye out on them.
Absolutely. I believe Heroic is going to be walking out of this arena, walking out of this tournament with their heads held high, as they should be, because as you mentioned, Frankie, they are on the rise, and they're a newly formed team, and they were able to come into this grand finals and show us so many different variations, so much prep work, and they're not the type of team to go home with, feeling so bad about this tournament. They're going to learn from this tournament, they're going to study their mistakes, and they're going to get better for the next one.
And what I learned from this tournament is that Rotterdam is an amazing place to have a Counter-Strike tournament. They're still cheering for the teams out there. Literally, the doors on DreamHack Rotterdam actually did shut a couple of hours ago. You might have noticed in the crowd shots there's some white panels at the back. They literally have kind of kept us in because these fans have been staying overtime to cheer those teams on and to give you guys the sense of atmosphere at home as well. And we just can't thank them enough for this. But what is next for players like Stavn, for example? Because again, we talk about Ships being a revelation. situation. Esperanto really breaking through, Cajun returning, and Stavlen, though, really making his mark.
Look, here's the thing, right? We talk about Danish prodigies, Danish players coming out. We had, of course, back in the day, we had Device coming out, we had Zipnix coming in, we have, of course, had the Astralis players, right? Then, of course, had the other Danes coming out. Denmark is just packed with so many highly talented players, but this kid is special. He's 17, he's playing with the maturity of a player who's been playing at the highest level for 10 years, a decade or so, and he's only going to get better. 17 is still a very, very young age, mind you. In the next couple of years, I see him being, in the next year, I see him being in the top 20 player list. Absolutely.
Look at Neil. Look at that. Neil M, the superstar.
I love how he hasn't fired a single bullet in the server, and yet there are people just swarming around him wanting his autograph. What a man.
He was absolutely loving it, wasn't he? Right, let's have a chat to Emmy, the IGL, the captain of our victors. Crazy. Emmy, congratulations, man. You must be over the moon.
This is one of the happiest moments of my life, to be honest. And probably for most of our players, this is like the biggest LAN we've ever won. So, and me coming back, my first tournament, coming back as a player from coaching role, winning it, unbelievable.
Emmy, congratulations on winning this grand final. It was a beautiful CS to watch. Now, I want to know your expectations coming into this tournament with losing Nexa and Hunter being such heavy hitters. How did you guys approach this tournament?
Well, to be honest, the first couple of days when we started practicing, they were awful. We couldn't beat anyone. They were beating the shit out of us. And somehow, we went to boot camp. We had like a week, 1 week of boot camp, and from like second day, we started smashing almost every team on practice, like top teams, literally. Also, so I thought if we can like copy that game from practice to our officials, I didn't see the reason why we can't have some upsets.
Emmy, on Inferno, it looked like Heroic kinda had the lead, so to speak, right? They seem to have figured you guys out, but something changed there later on. Esperanto was just pushing in and like pushing in through smokes, getting killed towards Banana. What did you tell him? Like, what did you speak into his ears for him to turn into that beast?
Well, there's nothing much to say to him. He just has amazing feeling for the game, and if you just let him do whatever he wants, then your team will benefit the most. He is not the type of player who should play like structured roles. He should just have the most freedom, him and Chips in this team, and they can win rounds on their own.
Well, Emmy, you just mentioned Chips, so that feels like the right moment to announce that our MVP at the DreamHack Open here in Rotterdam is none other than Chips. On his first LAN with you guys, his first tournament win with Crazy, his first tournament win since WESG 2018 with Windigo, and his first ever MVP trophy. Why was he picked up for the team?
It's actually his second MVP trophy. He was MVP on WESG.
Oh, he was
Just
there.
a correction.
I apologize, my
matter.
bad, Chips. He's his first MVP with you guys then, but clearly you're not surprised that he's been given this accolade.
Like he was our top priority choice after Hunter and Nexa left, and I told to our organization, if we can get Chips, I know I can lead this team to something amazing. And
I just want to point out, like, when you speak about giving freedom to players, it's very clear that you're giving the freedom to Esperanto and Chips. But how do you handle the fact that when you have two players doing whatever they want, it can get a little tricky, right? It can get a little hard.
yeah, it depends like what we're gonna do. Sometimes I'm just gonna call from start of the round what we're gonna do, so they're exactly gonna know what their role in that round should be. But other than that, if we do like defaults around the map, then they have a choice to do whatever they want. They just need like good support from others, good flashes and everything like that, and that's when they pop headshots and open up the space for us.
Well, thank you so much, Emmy, and congratulations and good luck with your next tournament. Where we'll be seeing you play next.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask him actually that question about where we're going to see Crazy playing next in the DreamHack Caffeine Overtime show. That's going to be on Caffeine shortly after we end this broadcast, but more on that in a bit, because right now we need to head over to the drawing board. So Potter, what have you got for us?
You know, actually, the stats Felix wasn't able to update for me, so I wasn't able to grab that for you guys. But I wanted to just highlight the pistol round coming out of Heroic's first half on that Inferno. They were able to get into that B bomb site, and the beautiful thing about Heroic is their teamwork. We've been talking about it all weekend long. Their ability to not just play for themselves, but play for each other, and it certainly paid off. And as we mentioned, they were in that lead, but some magic formed out of Crazy, and they were able to grind their way back. But Heroic definitely had the control in the beginning of the round, and I think that's a testament to their teamwork and cohesion that really reflected in that server.
And Blair, is there anything you would like to highlight before we wrap up?
I think I do have a replay for you guys. This is Ships waking up and just making Banana his domain, right? He was just pushing Banana, getting kills every single time. But look at this reply from Heroic. Perfect little pop flasher coming in. A nice pre-fire from Esh Attack because he knows exactly where Ships speaks from. And what did the rest of the teams do? They immediately just go in fast towards A short and then just go for this hit towards the A bomb side where the CTs are kind of caught with their pants down. They weren't expecting this level of aggression coming out from the Ts because the previous round, mind you, Potter, they lost round because they ran out of time. And look at the proactiveness coming out from Heroic. And that's a really cool thing about this Danish team. They have so many tricks in their sleeves. They're not afraid to speed things up. But even when they're aggressive, it is controlled aggression. These mid-round reads that they're able to gauge from the team, from their opponents, is something to be really admired. And it took Crazy, it took them to really elevate the level of play to be able to take Heroic down.
Well, hopefully we're going to see Heroic go back to their Inferno and look closely at those timings, because we saw it in their previous iteration of Inferno early today, and then we saw it again here. So I'm hoping that they're going to take a look at the demos and they're going to sort that out. And to be honest, I know they're going to. But right now, we need to look at the top 5 plays of the tournament. And we are kicking off with Avangar versus Crazy. It's Sanji on Inferno with that 4K clutch. As I said before, it's always the quiet ones.
It's always usually the quiet ones, and that's pretty nice indeed. I wish I was that good with the Deagle.
That is a tricky weapon, hey?
It is a tricky weapon. It give it, and sometimes it take it away.
Absolutely, and this match it was a little bit earlier on in the tournament, but this is Hard Legion versus Heroic on that overpass, and this young man, Stavin, we've been talking about him all weekend long. This is an ace as a terrorist side with that overpowered SG coming into that A bomb side and just crisp, clean headshots coming out of Stavin.
It is hopefully going to get nerfed very soon. Number 3, of course, is Letney on a train outer side. He was such a beast in this particular round. Look at that, a kill with the M4, kill with the USP, perfect positioning. He had the AWP, and he also had that trust in his teammate. You can't see his teammate, but it was a teammate playing on the bomb train. He was ready to trade if he ever got taken down.
And coming up to number 2, it's Havu versus Crazy. And Doto, another revelation from this tournament on Dust 2, taking an ace with the UMP in mid-CT on the CT side, no less. Look at that beautiful shot.
Beautiful indeed, and coming in at number 1, the MVP of this tournament, Ships on that Crazy side versus Heroic. We just watched it on this Inferno. This is the ace on Banana. He starts off with that AWP at that top Banana, taking ballsy picks, and it pays off for him.
Bear in mind, this is where the change happened. This is where the tides began to turn. It was 0-5 down, and then Ships is like, you know what, just hold my beer or hold my coffee. I don't know how old he is, whether he can drink right now, but he just took matters in his own hands and he made it work.
Well, I don't know if you guys are hungry, because it's been quite the intense day of Counter-Strike, but I have got some dog.
What the hell is
that is no way to talk to your queen. Okay. That is no way to talk to your queen.
Potter. Sorry.
I almost want you to shove this in your mouth so you can't be insolent anymore. Yes, there is a reason why I'm feeding my analyst. I'm trying to keep Potter in particular fed. Cheers. Because she is going to be joining me on the DreamHack Open Caffeine Overtime Show. That's going to be coming up very shortly on caffeine.tv/DreamHack CSGO. We're going to have a couple of members of our champion team, Crazy, joining us. We're going to have a quiz. We're going to have food. We're going to have Counter-Strike royalty. It's all going to be going on. It's a lot of fun. It's a bit more casual, say, than your average overtime show, I would say. We have a laugh, so please do come and join us. And you'll be able to put your questions to Crazy in the caffeine chat as well. So if you stan Neil M, this is your opportunity to tell him how you feel. In fact, he's just walking past the camera now. He's telling his nearest and dearest that he's a champion. Right. I feel a little bit sad right now because we've had so much fun here in Rotterdam and I can't wait to come back, quite frankly, but this is nearly it. Guys, have you enjoyed yourselves as much as I have?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's been a blast. And I've done a few DreamHack Opens in my time. This has been my favorite DreamHack Open crowd. And I will be disappointed if we don't see at least 2 or 3 more events happening in this lovely city.
Well, maybe our lovely sponsors will help us come back because we need to say a massive thank you, of course, to them. They are Corsair, Monster Energy, Esports Management, Omen by HP and Windows 10. Thank you, as always, for supporting us, for supporting the rising stars and teams of the Counter-Strike scene. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our 8 teams, the production team, all of our amazing analysts and our casters, and of course, the crowd here in Rotterdam. I know they're all going to bed because it's a little bit late on a Sunday, and you guys at home for watching. We absolutely heart you. Oh, there's still one there. Until next time, guys, good night and thank you, and God bless Counter-Strike.
Amen.